A windy day in Norman, Oklahoma could make things interesting for the offenses of number 9 Texas, a team that is flying high, hitting the ball better than it has all year. Can they finish a sweep of arch rival Oklahoma? Texas and OU coming up. You want offense? You want a little bit of fun, some punch? This may be your day. Look at the hair blowing in the wind. About a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight to left field in the series finale between these Big 12 arch rivals, Texas and Oklahoma. How about Texas leading this conference right now after missing the NCAA tournament each of the last 2 seasons? 8-3, a one-game edge on Oklahoma State. The Sooners, meanwhile, have lost 2 straight in this series, 3 straight overall, as we welcome you inside Airedale Mitchell Park in Norman. Dari Noka here alongside Mike Rooney, who played at Notre Dame, coached at Arizona State. We talk about Texas. This is a team that is known for pitching and defense, but they're also hitting the ball very well right now, nearly 300 in the last 15 games.
Oh, you're right, Dari. Texas is back, and a big reason for that is their senior center fielder, Mark Payton. He's the clear favorite for Big 12 Player of the Year right now, does everything for you. Premium center field, executes the inside game, and hits 3-hole.
Then for Oklahoma, this is a team that one of the best in the conference in hitting, and Sheldon Noisy, great name, pretty good player at third base.
You know, again, Dari, Oklahoma known for their power, and this kid, Sheldon Noisy, to me is arguably the best freshman hitter in the country. He's got size, aptitude for hitting, and again, for a freshman to hit 3-hole, this kid is special.
Runes originally, it was Jake Elliott supposed to be on the mound for Oklahoma, but Coach Pete Hughes scratched him. Precautionary reasons, he says, so in comes Jacob Evans, making start number 3 of the season.
And I like the move. Jacob Evans, freshman All-American, is their closer last year. Fastball it's not going to light you up, but that curveball is a plus pitch to righties and to lefties, and again was a premium closer last year in 2013.
So you take a look at the lineup. He will face for the Texas Longhorns, and again, it is one that has vastly improved over the last 15 games or so. Brooks Marlo to lead it off. You see the guy you were talking about, Runes, Mark Payton hitting third. Tres Barrera hitting in that cleanup spot as the catcher. Again, they are heating up right now with the bats. 17 runs in the 2 games thus far in the series.
And you're right, Dar. The 3 freshmen have been the key. Tres Barrera that was a big-time recruit to get on campus, and he has been a key protecting Mark Payton.
And with that, we are ready to go here in Norman. First pitch caught the outside corner from Jacob Evans. And a swing and a miss on the breaking ball, so Evans quickly ahead. 0-2 on Brooks Marlo.
That breaking ball really is a big pitch for Oklahoma today.
And the 0-2 in the dirt, nicely stopped by Anthony Hermelin, the sophomore catcher.
You know, I like the move for Oklahoma starting Evans in 2 reasons. One is your pen is your strength. In a big game like this, let's get right to the pen. And Texas has great left-handed hitting. Maybe Evans can neutralize that.
That's a fly ball. Again, the wind making an instant impact that had no business getting out of here. And it does for Brooks Marlo, his 2nd home run of the season. And immediately the wind makes an impact.
Well, again, if you're frustrated with the BB Core era, let's enjoy the next 3 hours, because this is the anti-BB Core zone right now. It doesn't matter what bat you're using. That wind is howling. You know, Marlo does a good job, just 2-strike approach, and uses the middle of the field. And you're right, that's an out any other day.
Craig Aiken just had to keep going and watch it sail over the wall. So Marlo with a leadoff home run. And that was a lefty. I mean, imagine the righties that go pull the baseball, perhaps like Ben Johnson here. He actually goes into the gap in right center field, and well, over to make the catch is Aiken, 1 away.
It's going to be the tale of 2 sides of the outfield today. You're not going to get much done right of center field, but if you can get the ball left of center field, you got a chance to make some hay here.
And that'll bring up the center fielder, Mark Payton, who you were talking about before just a few minutes ago. He is leading the Big 12 with a .466 on-base percentage. Tops on the team, hitting .344 this season. 5 doubles, 5 triples. Leads the team with 25 runs batted in. He has been dynamite for Texas. That is a fly ball into right. Back goes Hunter Haley. The right fielder can't get it. That's going to be a ground rule double as it bounces over the wall. And now Texas with another man in scoring position.
Well, that's unusual. I mean, that's into right center, so that tells you a little something about the wind, that really any ball you get up in the air is carrying. I guess just dead to right field wouldn't work. The key right now, that ball's elevated, and Jacob Evans is going to have to make a quick adjustment. He's going to get to the bottom half of the zone quickly, or it could be a very short outing.
Well, you've got another dangerous hitter here, and the catcher, 6-foot freshman Tres Barrera from Eagle Pass, Texas. So Evans has run into some trouble with a home run given up to Marlo, and now a double to Peyton. Well, how about the, not in this case, but guys jumping on that first pitch a couple of times too out of the hand of Evans.
Yeah, and you worry about your hitters on a day like today getting a little too froggy. You know, you see a ball leave and you see the ball traveling, getting. The one thing I liked about the Texas hitters, especially Marlo and Peyton, they're older hitters, but they were very much under control in those swings.
So Evans working out of the stretch there with Mark Peyton on second. Checks back on him.
Good sign for OU in that Evans, even after the home run, first pitch strike to Peyton, first pitch strike to Barrera. What you get nervous about is when your pitcher gets really tentative in the strike zone.
You see Peyton there, number 2. This is the 77th straight game in which he has reached base. That's the longest current streak in the nation.
He's a special player. I mean, if A.J. Reed wasn't having the year he's having at Kentucky, to me, Peyton is a National Player of the Year candidate, not only for what he's doing statistically, but the resurgence that Texas is making. Again, this is a kid that does a little bit of everything for Texas.
So can Evans finish off Barrera here, up 0-2 as Barrera steps out and Evans steps off. Here comes the 0-2 from Evans, outside, 1-2. Oklahoma breaking out the camouflage look, as they like to do sometimes on Sundays. Sharp unis, man. Digging these.
Love those. The hats are cool, too.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to see, but the camouflage OU.
Now the 1-2 coming. And that's ball 2-2. So 1 in, 1 on, and 1 out here in the Texas first. You see Pete Hughes there, first year head coach at Oklahoma. Nice career at Virginia Tech, and before that at Boston College. Led Virginia Tech to the ACC championship game and a spot in the NCAA tournament last season. And misses there. Full count now, so 3 straight balls thrown by Evans.
This is where you know Tres Barrera is a special hitter. You know, your normal freshman hitter sees the wind and goes up and just starts swinging. I mean, I'm getting 3 hacks off and I'm going to try and go deep sauce. But this has been a very under control at bat. I mean, it belies the maturity.
And the 3-2 ball 4, so 1 an at bat for Barrera. Now 2 on for the right fielder Collin Shaw.
That's a big, you know, we talked about Sheldon Noisy, but that's another big time freshman hitter in the Big 12, and that's a kid that Texas fans got to be excited about for the next 3 years.
You know, we talk about Texas and how this is a program that was winning this year with pitching and defense. That's something they're used to at Texas. So, you know, I know they didn't go to the tournament the last couple of seasons, but over the last 15 games, they're hitting .299. Their team average has gone from around .250 to .264. What do you see? What's the big difference here when you talk to folks around Texas?
These kids are really bought into what Augie Garrido teaches, which is stay off results and get on process. And you look at 2 freshmen, Zane Gurwitz and Tres Barrera, they were hitting in the hundreds a month ago.
Yeah.
Now these kids are creeping up on 300, and they just have really bought into what Coach Garrido and Tommy Nicholson, their hitting coach, have taught, which is it's all about a good process.
Runners are moving. Bunt laid down towards third. That's foul. It's 0-2.
This is the, you know, if you're playing OU, it's a very offensive team. They're not as, the infield defense is trickier. And you like what Texas is doing there. Put pressure on that infield with a steal and a bunt at the same time. Try and get those guys, speed the game up on them if you can.
So the 0-2 coming from Evans. Of course, Evans had Barrera 0-2 just a moment ago, ended up walking him. 1 out here in the top of the first.
All weekend, Texas has been outstanding in their two-strike approach. Fouling pitches off, getting pitch counts up. Offensively, the offensive approach for Texas has really been impressive all weekend.
Collin Shaw hitting .276 with runners in scoring position. That's a foul ball. Will stay 0-2. I'll tell you, all weekend and all week here in Norman, there's been a significant threat of severe storms today. And you know, in this part of the country, you don't mess around with that. So much so the discussion was had about moving today's game and making yesterday a doubleheader. As you can see, the wind is here, but the skies are absolutely beautiful blue. So we've been lucky to this point. It's outside, one, and make that 1-2 now to Shaw.
We got a severe threat of home run derby right now. That's what we got a threat of. It is. This is beyond a good day to hit.
30-mile-an-hour wind, and those aren't gusts. That is a steady 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight to left field. Ground ball, nicely played by Evans over to first, 2 down, and the runners though do move over to second and third. As good as a bunt there from Shaw.
And, you know, the one thing for Jacob Evans, you appreciate the mental toughness. With the wind gusting out like this, takes tremendous toughness on the mound to know that you're going to make some good pitches and get beat because of the weather. And obviously that's out of your control. That's why you like them having a kid like Evans who likes pinching at the end of the game, likes the heat of the moment. And you know, they get out of here with 1 run. I think you call it a victory.
No question about it. No question about it. C.J. Hinojosa, the shortstop for Texas. Right-handed sophomore steps in, takes ball 1. We talk about the wind. 30-mile-an-hour straight out to left field here at L. Dale Mitchell Park in Norman. In the parking lot on the way in, I'm kidding. You know, I'm just walking at a normal pace, and a cup from McDonald's, a big one, flies past me. Must have been 20 miles an hour. That's how strong the wind is right now.
Over.
I don't have kind words for whoever put that in the parking lot. I'm just saying that it was moving.
Yeah, you litter today, you get a chance to end up with a lawsuit. Littering with a deadly weapon.
That's exactly right. Hinojosa, 5'11" sophomore, Spring, Texas, his hometown. And he fouls it back.
You know, again, very impressed with Texas' approach right now. It is so hard to stay under control when you know that wind is doing what it's doing. And not only the wind, but you saw what Brooks Marlo did, which was basically hit a fly ball for a point. So, and you love to see the Texas hitters right now. They're just being very patient. It takes a lot of discipline to do that.
1-2 coming to C.J. Hinojosa. That's a foul ball to right field. Oh, look at that thing now. I don't know how good a view you had at home, but Runes, you saw it as well as I. That thing was headed easily to get over the fence in foul territory, and it nearly came back in fair.
And that's a big adjustment all the defensive players are going to have to make today, where if you see a ball hit to the player next to you, you've really got to attack it as if it's your play. Because it's going to be a position difference as far as the way the wind's going to travel a baseball.
2-2 now to C.J. Hinojosa. I mean, that is a stiff breeze. The trees are blowing like crazy.
If you were a hitter and you could design the wind, I don't know if you'd be that greedy. You'd dial it down from there. I don't even think you'd be aggressive to go that far out.
This is the dream. You're exactly right. Hinojosa, 2-2, 2 out, 2 on for Texas. Now it's full. Hinojosa, 1 home run, 20 runs batted in on the season. This is a situation, I'm sorry, Mike, with a runner on third and 2 outs, he has been deadly. 10 for 15 in that situation, C.J. Hinojosa.
You have a base open here, but you just can't walk people with this type of wind.
Strike 3 called on the breaking ball. He bent it right around the plate. And you said it would be a win for Evans if he could get out just having given up the 1, and he did.
And that's a momentum changer for, you know, OU needs something to get this series going in a positive direction, and Jacob Evans just gave him something to get excited about in that dugout. And full count, and just drops that great breaking ball in there, pitching backwards a little bit. You know, that's if OU can get something done today, you got to look to the first inning of Jacob Evans. That's outstanding.
So Texas will come out. Nathan Thornhill, a phenomenal right-hander we'll talk about in just a moment, coming out to throw for the Longhorns. But how about this team? This is a team that started slowly on the heels of not making the tournament each of the last 2 seasons, and they've absolutely turned it on. Now you look at last season, missed the tournament, second straight year. This season, 28-8, and you said it, they're battling for a top 8 seed, which would get them home all the way to Omaha, perhaps.
Well, there's no question. Texas is back. I mean, this is you know, I picked them as a sleeper to win the national title this year.
Did you really?
You just because I believe in Augie and what he can do, and they've redone the culture of this program in a team first. And the freshmen have bought in. You get this incredible freshman class with a Gerwitz and a Barrera and, you know, Casey Clemens. And these guys, it's the offensive approach. Those numbers, you look at them, you feel like it's the same. But they've bought into an offensive approach, team first, line drives and ground balls, and it's working.
When you look at your top 8, this is what you see.
Yeah, and this is a fun top 8 right here. You look at Louisiana Lafayette. Cal Poly, Houston. I mean, this is what the separation in college baseball is minuscule right now, and that's why you get 8 national seeds like this.
All right, on the mound for these Texas Longhorns, a man who leads the Big 12, one of the top in the country in ERA, 0.73 earned run average. Nathan Thornhill, a former closer turned starter, 6-foot senior from Cedar Park, Texas.
The stats are deceiving, Dari. The walks are up because he was the closer in the first part of the season. It's a fastball, 88 to 91. His changeup is his best pitch by far. He's added a cutter this year. He's got a nice curveball, but really what Nathan Thornhill is going to give you is a competitive outing.
Now, he's not a strikeout guy, and they say he pitches to contact, which maybe is a little bit more dangerous today given the conditions here. All right, here's the OU lineup, and the Sooners going to start it up with the center fielder Craig Aiken, Sheldon Noisy we talked about earlier, Mac James, one heck of a hitter, and Austin O'Brien, a freshman who's really come on for this team.
Well, there's not a guy in that lineup, Dory, that can't leave the yard today. I mean, this is 9 guys that could hit a home run, and very dangerous lineup.
Oklahoma second in the conference in hitting, 291 team batting average. Only Kansas State is better. You want a number? How about Texas and that team ERA? They lead the conference at 2.15. In fact, they are 0.62 runs better than anybody else in the league as a staff. And it's Craig Aiken, the center fielder from Coppell, Texas, starting it off for Oklahoma. Thornhill finds the zone with the first pitch. Aiken, second pitch, base hit into center field. So Oklahoma's leadoff man is aboard. Take a look at the way the Texas defense lines up. Mark Payton, much talked about, maybe the Big 12 Player of the Year front runner perhaps, is in center field. You see the name Clemens over there at first base. That would be Casey Clemens. Yes, indeed, a son of Roger Clemens. They call Casey a vacuum over there. His hitting is coming along, but he is defensively fantastic at first base.
Pete Hughes in Oklahoma, they're not a huge bunting team. It's more, the aggressiveness is going to be more hit and run and stolen base. But I think right now you're going to put the bunting game away for a little bit. Texas will not. They will continue to bunt, but not OU. They're going to swing here.
So Thornhill checking on Aiken over there. For Thornhill, he's thrown 49 innings this season, has given up 4 earned runs. That would get you the 0.73 earned run average. Hunter Haley fouls that one back. 5'10" sophomore, Nacogdoches, Texas.
You know, again, continuing with the wind, the key pitch to me in a windy day like this is fastball down in the zone. And your concern with both of these pitchers is that, you know, Thornhill likes changeup. If that's up, that's a home run. And with Evans, you know, the curveball to Marlo was a home run. So both guys are they're veterans, but they're going to have to be a little bit different than normal today.
And Haley at the plate may be just 5'10", not the biggest guy, but he is their biggest power threat. Tied for, or rather has the team lead in home runs with 5 on the season. He also has a 10-game hitting streak he brings into this afternoon. And again, they check on Aiken. If you're curious, yes, he can steal a base. He's 5 of 7 in stolen base attempts this season.
Haley's another exciting guy for OU. This is a guy with big tools at just a smaller frame. He's got a lot of juice. He can really run. Just a good-looking athlete.
Well, Aiken always showed that he was going, and he pulled up, so he stays over at first. 1-1 now to Hunter Haley.
Very difficult to run on the Texas starters. You'll see Thornhill will be very quick to the plate at 1-3, 1-2 or less. It's almost a borderline slide step. Does a great job. I mean, this is a kid who's a senior. He's been around the block. He's pitched on Friday nights. Huge advantage to have him on a Sunday.
Haley sends one into left center field. Is that trouble? No. On comes the left fielder Ben Johnson to make the catch. So one retired here at the bottom of the first, and it's time for a young man with one of the great names in college baseball, 6-foot freshman from Fort Worth, Sheldon Noisy. And when you see the last name, the way it's spelled, I can only promise you that Noisy is the proper pronunciation.
He might have the best hashtag in college baseball. Hashtag let's get noisy.
It's a good one.
That is special.
That's quality right there. You talk to Oklahoma and the hitting coach Mike Anderson, who had a great career as an assistant and a head coach at Nebraska. Got Nebraska to a couple of World Series as an assistant for Dave Van Horn, who's of course now Arkansas's head coach, and also took him to 1-05 as the head coach himself. He said, this may be the most mature hitter I have, considering he's a freshman. Makes that even more remarkable. Sheldon Noisy.
Great adjustments pitch to pitch, which again, that's something juniors do, not typically freshmen or sophomores. Now we'll see. This is a big temptation for Noisy today. Does he hit to the wind, or does he stay within his good approach?
Well, he skied one, and this still could find some trouble here for Texas, although camping under it is Ben Johnson. And again, that should not have been near the warning track, but that's where it ended up. 2 down.
I'll say this as well. If F7 in your scorebook can be impressive, that's an impressive F7. I mean, that ball is skied. This kid can really hit Noisy. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch him all day.
So now Aiken remains on first for the cleanup hitter, 6'1" sophomore catcher Anthony Hermelin. Hermelin actually sat out yesterday, breaking a consecutive start streak at 47 games going back to last season. In fact, it was the first game in his last 70 he didn't play. So perhaps refreshed now is the young man from McKinney, Texas. As Aiken over at first, checking out something, perhaps something in his eye.
If you wear contacts on a day like today, that's not going to be fun.
Your glasses may blow right off your face, though.
Yeah, you got all kinds of issues.
First pitch down, so 1-0 now to Anthony Hermelin.
This is such a big game for OU. You know, their RPI coming in today was in the mid-80s. And this is the best RBI or RPI game they're going to have left on their schedule. This is really a must-win.
Texas on the flip side, RPI of 5. Plays nicely into the idea that that's a top 8 national seed.
And also, if they can host a regional, super regional at Dish Falk, which is such a place so extreme, very difficult to beat them at that place.
And you'll see home run totals as Texas batters come to the plate and likely not be very impressed. In fact, their leading home run hitter has 3, but again, that's a product of that ballpark you're talking about, which is enormous, and it's very difficult to hit one out in Austin. So now the 1-1 coming to Hermelin from Thornhill. Hermelin ground ball third base. Zane Gerwitz drops it, picks it up, throws to first. Casey Clemens on the other side. So the leadoff single to Craig Aiken did not hurt Texas when it was all said and done. Texas exploding in the first. Leadoff hitter Brooks Marlo, home run. It's the only run of the game as we go to the second. College baseball is brought to you by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase. Dorian Oka, Mike Rooney back here with you in Norman, Oklahoma. You see the College World Series appearances for OU. They've got a couple in national championships, 1951 and 1994, that 94 team.
Mark Redmond, who had a nice career in big leagues as a pitcher, was their ace. Russ Ortiz also in that rotation. And then some of the greatest names, Rich Hills and Chip Glass. Ryan Miner was a really good basketball player. His brother Damon also played on the baseball team. And freshman catcher Javier Flores got the last out when they beat Georgia Tech. That was a Nomar Garciaparra, Jay Payton, Jason Varitek team.
Yeah, loaded. Yeah. Was Eric Thomas on that team?
Eric Thomas now was Eric with an A, A-R-I-C.
Recruiting coordinator at Tennessee now.
Top two, Madison Carter, the designated hitter, leading off for Texas. Jacob Evans labored a bit there in that first, gave up the leadoff home run to Brooks Marlo. Allowed two more to reach base before getting out of it. Now Evans up 0-2 on Carter.
Love the fearlessness with which Evans is pitching. He's just pounding I mean, again, he's a left-handed pitcher. For all we know, he doesn't even know there's a wind today. But, you know, again, in spite of that, he is just pounding the zone. You love it.
Now the breaking ball that he ended the first inning with against C.J. Hinojosa misses off the plate. 2-2 now.
Shaw, where's his arm angle?
And he tried it again. 3-2 now to Carter. Madison Carter out of Sherman, Texas. Not terribly far across the border from Oklahoma, and that ball sent into right field. Hunter Haley back. Haley, oh boy, was playing tricks with him, but he made the play.
You know, again, to make that point, Dari, if you're an outfielder, any ball in the air, you got to have two players going after that baseball, because anything can happen with this wind.
Yeah, we'll watch that defense for Oklahoma, the way that it lines up. Haley Aiken and James from right to left. Mac James, first baseman, catcher. It doesn't play in the outfield a ton. It'll be interesting to watch the adventures of Mac James out there dealing with the conditions today. Noisy, Lorenzana, Ballard, and O'Brien around the infield. You'll see something different that Pete Hughes employs, and that is when a runner is on first in a double play situation, he will move his shortstop Hector Lorenzana over to second. He will switch Lorenzana and Keach Ballard. Lorenzana will play second, and he likes that because he says he's my best defensive infielder, he's got the best arm, and he turns the best double play, so we'd rather have him going towards the bag at second to turn and throw to first. That ball skied. James, wow. Nothing's easy out there today, Rose.
Not at all. I mean, what's so difficult, if you can picture being an outfielder today, you have to decide that what my eyes tell me is not what's real. So basically, if you feel like you're perfectly camped, you got to take a step back. You really got to keep the ball in front of you. So your eyes are going to lie to you all day. It's amazing how difficult of an adjustment that is.
So here's Zane Gerwitz, the third baseman, 5'8" freshman from San Antonio. Hits lefties awfully well. 387 against lefties. He's 281 overall. Lefty Evans with the second pitch to Gerwitz, and that's strike one, 1-1.
First changeup of the day, and it's a strike. That pitch makes me nervous because it's his third best pitch, and if it's up and somebody gets a barrel to it, the scoreboard operator is going to get going.
The ball fouled up over the hill, so that's 1-2 now to Gerwitz rather.
You know, again, if you're Oklahoma and if Evans can give you 9 outs, if he can give you 3 innings, I think you'll take that. You got a great bullpen, and let's get to those guys.
Strike 3 call. Found the inside corner. How about a 1-2-3 for Jacob Evans, Runes?
Absolutely, and this is now you're really getting aggressive. You go fastball in after they show the breaking ball, and you paint this in there. Jacob Evans giving Oklahoma a chance.
Tomorrow, it's the 2014 WNBA Draft presented by State Farm, live from Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. Find out who gets chosen first. Don't miss the exclusive coverage tomorrow starting at 8 Eastern on ESPN2 and continuing at 9 Eastern on ESPNU. You know, about 2 hours up the road, up I-44. There's a WNBA team, the Tulsa Shock.
I'm a draft nut. I'm in for any draft. Count me in. Can we get Mel Kiper Jr. on that? I mean, it's like I'm all in. If Mel Kiper Jr. is talking, count me in.
I think he's a little busy. Of course, Tulsa making a splash, getting Skylar Diggins out of Notre Dame, out of your alma mater, Mike Rooney.
She's represented by Jay-Z as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Nico Buenteo, designated hitter. 6'3" freshman from Louisville, Texas, leading off the Oklahoma second. Buenteo, Mac James, and Austin O'Brien. Tell you, Mac James on deck, leading the conference with a .386 average. Be nice for the Sooners if Nico could get on. And that foul ball, I know, hit Mac James. It looked like it caught him on the right or I can't remember. I don't know what leg that was, but there was some scooting. Fortunately, he's okay.
And he's a catcher, so that's part of standard operating procedure. Just getting hit by things.
I don't see a shin guard on him, though. Buenteo. Tough play there for short as that one slowed down when they hit the dirt. C.J. Hinojosa makes the play, though, so that's 1 away.
It's a big out for Thornhill. That's a dangerous kid on a day like today.
Take a look at our camera operator. Hello. It's not an easy day for Dawn out there. The wind, I mean, she may be blown right off of that stand out there, perhaps. If you hear a loud noise, Dawn, it's just a flag being taken off of the flagpole. So James, .386 on the season, leads the Big 12. 13 doubles, good for third in the Big 12. 6'1" junior. New Braunfels, Texas, by way of Brookhaven College. How about this number? 4 strikeouts all season long. It's that foul ball. What a play by the second baseman, Marlo. Boy, oh boy, again, nothing is easy.
That is exactly what we're talking about, and that's a veteran player, Brooks Marlo. This ball got off the stadium in flight. It was out of the stadium. Brooks Marlo stays with it, and that's, you know, again, that's a veteran play right by a veteran player right there. Man, that's a huge out for Texas.
So that'll bring up the big freshman, 6'3", Austin O'Brien, who has played very well, given more extensive playing time. He's hitting .366. Boy, look bad there. He's just .211 against right-handed pitching so far this season. O'Brien, out of a bit of a baseball power in this state, Owasso High School, just north of Tulsa. He's a Ram. Dylan Bundy in the Orioles organization, also Owasso High School.
He's a Texas signee, actually, Dylan Bundy. This is, you know, the freshman hitters, Buenteo and O'Brien, you're looking for 9 to 12 swings in their at-bats. They give me aggressive swings at a decent pitch. Let's take our chances.
Oh, that one in the dirt, swung and missed. That's a strikeout as Tres Barrera going to finish it off. So how about that? Both halves of the innings, 3 up and 3 down. We move to the third. Brooks Marlo going to lead it off. He led off the first with a home run.
Yeah, I'm there.
Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. 1-0 Texas. Longhorns looking for the series sweep and a 10th straight win in this ballpark. Brooks Marlo leading off, and here's what he did in the first, Mike Rooney.
Well, this is a kid that can really hit. Don't let the 5'8" frame fool you. It's a fastball middle in, and, you know, it should be an out on a normal day. Marlo's got enough strength to get it out of here, and on a day like today, you can't punch out. If you can get a ball in play with 2 strikes, percentages are in your favor.
In case we haven't mentioned it 73 times, the wind is blowing straight left field at 30 miles an hour. And we will keep mentioning it because it's a huge story of this game and it affects everything. The guys at the plate, the guys trying to make plays in the field, and what would never have left the yard, leaving the yard, like Marlo's home run there in the first.
You know, Marlo's a kid. I would argue he's got the best technical swing and bat speed on the Texas team. He's just not a big kid. And one of the things that was a problem for him early in his career, first day on the job, opening day as a freshman, he hits 2 home runs off of Marcus Stroman, the All-American Division I pick from Duke. And it was almost like he got a little bit home run happy.
Well, Marlo here got a piece of it, reached for it, and in comes Aiken, the center fielder, so that's 1 away. We've seen Jacob Evans settle in a little bit here. Why? What's the reason?
You know, you put a kid as your closer for a reason. They got to have that fearlessness, and he clearly has it. First hitter of the day hits a home run, and he just continues to attack the strike zone. And so again, the mentality is really why.
7 first pitch strikes to this point for Jacob Evans. Ben Johnson, who flew to center, steps in, the left fielder.
That's that right there. You tell me a kid's throwing first pitch strikes on a day like today, I'll tell you, you got a chance to give up a 20 spot. You know, that's impressive to attack the zone under these conditions.
Westwood High School in Austin, that's where Ben Johnson is out of. Certainly not the Canadian sprinter who found trouble at one point.
Although he is a great sprinter.
He is 6'4", 60 in the fall.
This is a kid that could be a big leaguer. This is a kid that played so much football and high quality football in high school that the baseball repetitions are behind. The difference in his at-bats from last year as a freshman this year has been a big difference for Texas.
Strike 3, another called third strike for Evans, and that's the 3rd strikeout of the day for Evans, all of them looking.
Evans has got everything going right now. That's fastball down, and he threw a changeup to Johnson at bat, threw some good breaking balls. He's really got some momentum right now.
So here comes Mark Payton, center fielder who doubled in the 1st. Average continues to climb. Payton well hit right field, likely going to be at least a 2nd double as Hunter Haley gives chase. It's to the wall. Haley picks it up. Payton going to go in standing. It is his 2nd double of the afternoon, number 7 on the season.
You know, that you veteran quality hitter like Mark Payton, they go breaking ball to start, and then they try and come fastball, and it's a mistake. It's up and in, and Payton's just not going to miss a mistake. He's just too good of a hitter for that. And that's really, as Evans has gotten rolling here, that's what Mark Payton provides for Texas, is a chance to change the momentum.
So now Payton once again stands on second for Tres Barrera, the catcher who walked in the 1st. And that's down 1-0.
You know, I don't mean to pick on the freshman, Dory, but you look at Barrera's at-bats and Noisy's at-bats and the patience and how under control they stay compared to other freshmen at-bats where there's a lot of chasing and over-aggressiveness. That's why these are 2 special hitters. And, you know, these guys are scary as freshmen. You think about 2 years from now, that's really frightening.
Now he waited on the off speed, got it, quick play. Hunter Lorenzana, not going to be easy, throws and brings Austin O'Brien off the bag. So Barrera gets a hit there, so that is again a single for Barrera. He's aboard for the 2nd time today.
You know, it's off speed, and the one thing you'd like for Lorenzana to do is maybe settle himself a little bit. Barrera is a very below average runner, and if you just take a little bit more time on that, obviously the accurate throw gives you a chance. Again, with the conditions today, you just can't give away free bases.
So now runners on the corners for Collin Shaw. 2 down, and Shaw grounds that one foul, 0-1. Again, they do give Barrera a base hit on that play. Lorenzana did throw Austin O'Brien off the bag. Difficult play charging that slow ground ball. Check over at 1st, and Mark Payton over there at 3rd.
Payton's such a good base runner.
Yeah.
This is, you got to be careful messing with the runner at first base, to me.
That ball well hit to right by Shaw. Over though on the track, and again, you said it, nothing is going out to straightaway right field as the wind does the Sooners a favor there as Haley makes the play. So we are through 2.5 here at OU. 1-0 UT.
I'm a totally.
I'll name Trixie. Set of words.
It's not exactly secretariat in a firm, but it'll do. You know, every now and then we see these promotions.
And I'm thinking, man, I would love to do that, right? You and I on the horsies, well, that's probably what would happen. Right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what's the result of that? That's 2 blown hamstrings at my age of life right
Is that
there.
right?
That's seriously, we needed to tape our ankles before we're doing that. Good golly. That's awesome.
Oh, boy. 1-zip Texas as we go to the bottom of the third. Texas won the first game on Friday night in extras, 10-8. Hinojosa had a home run, and then Dylan Peters pitched awfully well for Texas, and OU just got no timely hitting. Texas got a ton of it, 7-2 Texas, and with that, they have won 9 straight games here at Oklahoma. You go all time, the series between these two arch rivals has been dominated by the Longhorns. In fact, even just since Texas became a Big 12 school, or they joined the Big 12, when the Big 12 was formed, I should say, they have won 35 of 47 games between these two. 8-9-1 coming up for the Sooners. Ballard, Lorenzana, and Aiken. Here's the second baseman, Keach Ballard. 6-foot junior out of Durant, Oklahoma. The locals would call it Durant.
Durant.
In this state anymore, D-U-R-A-N-T is always Durant, as in Kevin.
That's right. Under up.
That's right. Good to hear you say it there.
Yes. Say it, hashtag it, believe it.
The 0-2 now coming from Thornhill. In the dirt, 1-2.
You know, this has been the number. This has been a tight series. First game goes extra innings. Yesterday could have easily gone a different direction. But I think it also speaks to that's what's made Texas great under Augie Garrido. They are so good in a one-run game. Their style plays to that.
That ball sent into left field. Ben Johnson back into the gap. It drops. It's extra bases for Keach Ballard. Ballard pulls up at second base. It's a leadoff double for Oklahoma.
It goes to the point you've got to get the ball. You've got to stay behind the baseball. And Johnson kind of started to cruise a little bit, you see here. And that ball just accelerates past him. That's, again, it's an adjustment. We're only in the third inning. That's an adjustment you've got to make right now, where this is going to be a long day in the outfield.
So now Ballard on second with a double. Hector Lorenzana, the shortstop, 5'11" senior out of San Diego, with a chance to tie this game. First pitch swinging, fouled off.
You know, it affects base running. Right now, if I'm Ballard, if I see a fly ball to left field, I'm absolutely tagging, because there's no way an outfielder is going to be able to position himself with momentum to make a throw. So, you know, it's going to affect base running, outfield play, and really pitching, obviously.
That's a phenomenal point there. Trying to throw it into the infield, dead against the wind. Ground ball, base hit. Ballard rounds third, heads in to score the game-tying run. It's an RBI single for Hector Lorenzana.
Guys like Lorenzana are so priceless in college baseball. It's a senior who's playing a ton of baseball. He's a San Diego kid, and that's exactly what you want to do. Runner in scoring position. You want to hit early in the count, eliminate the strikeout, and you want to use the middle of the field. Just a beautiful piece of hitting, and you know, OU is hanging around and fighting this thing.
That run snaps a streak of 23 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitched by Nathan Thornhill. So a big run for a multitude of reasons for Oklahoma as we go to the top of the Sooner order, and the center fielder Craig Aiken tries to lay one down, and it's fouled, so 0-1.
We said it earlier, Dari, it's really about mental toughness on the bump today. Let's be honest, the Ballard, that's an out. You made a great pitch.
Absolutely.
It's an out, and it's a run. So you've got to just fight through that and just keep making pitches.
So 1 on, nobody out for Craig Aiken, who singled in the first. And they check over on Lorenzana. We've talked about Texas's resurgence, and talking to Augie Garrido before the game, what they preached in the fall was competition. Everything they did had a winner and a loser. He thought the mindset wasn't where it needed to be after missing 2 straight games. And also the way he approaches his team. I was so fascinated, Rooms, talking to him down there with you, where he talked about we get back to basics. Kids come in, they've been spoiled. You got to work. You got to work hard. Where do you want to be? You want to be playing professional baseball. Do the things to help your team win. Run everything out to first. Do the simple things right. Playing time, he said, is not determined by batting average or earned run average. It's by the attitude his players show. I think that's so fascinating and so simple by a guy who's done it for so long and has more wins than any coach in the history of NCAA baseball.
And how much credibility does Augie Garrido have? He's won 5 national titles, and he can say to his team, look, guys, I'm going to tell you the answers to the test. The question is, do you believe me?
Yeah, just fascinating conversation.
Again, to me, Dory, there's 2 things why Texas has got a chance to be a national seed. This freshman class is more physically talented than they've had in a while. They really were able to survive the draft. But this team is bought into that coach right there. That he's bought into playing with energy, to buying into process over results. And you look at their offensive approach, that really, everything is, they're more singles driven. People aren't trying to be a one-man band. Great 2-strike approach, and that's a scary combination. They've got the edge back that they've had and a really talented freshman class.
Now you think about the positions they have freshmen playing every day at first base. Casey Clemens, third base, Zane Gurwitz, behind the plate, Tres Barrera, all freshmen. As the runner goes, a hit and run executed beautifully. As out at first is Hunter Haley, but not by much, but he does move the runner Lorenzana over to second.
I love the call by Pete Hughes. You're trying to salvage game 3 of a series, and let's be aggressive. That's a double play ball, but it's really just a well-executed hit and run. That's one thing Casey Clemens has given Texas all year. Tremendous length and athleticism around the bag. That's a huge out and a great job by your first baseman.
So is Aiken out at first, rather Hunter Haley steps in right now. So 1 out and a runner on second for the right fielder Haley.
I'll tell you another reason to play for a run right now if you're OU. They haven't had a lead in this series. I mean, to get on top of Texas, that would be such a difference maker to me. They've been chasing Texas since really the first inning. Texas scored 6 runs on Friday. So try and flip that scoreboard a little bit.
Texas has won 13 of the last 15 games. Oklahoma's lost 3 in a row. This is the final game of an 8-game homestand. You'd hate to lose the opportunity to not get this one and end this homestand with 4 straight losses as Haley fouls it back 0-2 now.
Thornhill's doing a good job here. Haley's a kid you really have to mix pitches. You could throw changeup and he might look bad. Next changeup he sees, he hits it off the wall. He's got just so much athletic ability in the box that you can't get in a pattern against him.
So the 0-2 coming from Thornhill. 1-2. Dangerous Sooner hitters behind Hunter Haley here on deck right now. That third baseman, the freshman Sheldon Noisy. And then behind him, the catcher Anthony Hermelin. We're at 2, 3, 4 coming up there as you see Noisy for the Sooners. Fouls it back again, 1-2.
Trying to think of a good comp for Noisy, and I don't know what it is. I keep coming up with people with Oklahoma State ties.
Of a good compare. Go ahead. That's
he's
okay.
got a little Pete Incaviglia,
okay.
You know, just like that really physical, hitterish right-handed hitter. I see a little Matt Holliday, but I think actually Noisy's a little bit more quick twitch than Matt was or is. You know, Matt was a tremendous athlete. Obviously, he was a big-time quarterback recruit too.
Swung on and missed. The off speed from Thornhill got Hunter Haley. So now 2 down for Noisy.
Risk reward on that pitch. You know, you leave that changeup up, it's dangerous, but this is just a perfectly executed changeup down the zone. You see how far out in front Haley was. And, you know, with Thornhill, the fastball's touching 90. The changeup's almost a Bugs Bunny changeup. It's very difficult for hitters to adjust from that to that pitch to pitch.
So the go-ahead runner remains at second in the person of Hector Lorenzana. 2 outs now for Sheldon Noisy, who flew to left field his first time up. Swings and a miss, 0-1. Take a look at this team and where they sit, slugging percentage. Mentioned they're second best in the conference in hitting with a .291 average coming in, but Haley, Noisy, Mac, James, all have the ability to find the gaps or send one over the wall. Noisy, short. Hinojosa for the out, and that'll do it for the Sooners in the third, but not before Oklahoma gets one across. We're tied at 1 in Norman. College baseball coverage continues Thursday at 7:30 Eastern as Connor Hale and the LSU Tigers take on the Ole Miss Rebels in an SEC showdown. LSU and Ole Miss Thursday 7:30 Eastern on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPN. And that SEC is just all jumbled up.
It is awesome.
Isn't it, though?
They could have 12 teams make the NCAA regionals.
So in-game festivities here for the Oklahoma Sooners. Sunday afternoon in Norman again. It was a threat of severe weather. But we have seen nothing but blue skies and a lot of wind as we sit 1-1. Texas leadoff hitter in the ballgame, Brooks Marlo, solo home run to center field. And then just moments ago in the bottom of the third, Hector Lorenzana drove in Keach Ballard, and we sit tied at 1.
And to me, the MVPs of the game right now are really Jacob Evans and Nathan Thornhill, who have both minimized damage. And this is as about a bad. The other part about pitching on a day like today, when the wind blows like this, it dries the infield out big time. You can't keep your infield wet, so it's like playing on a parking lot. Really difficult day to pitch.
Now, so far, like you say, not too much damage done, or at least damage averted for Texas coming up here in the fourth. Hinojosa, Carter, and Casey Clemens, 6, 7, 8, part of the Longhorn lineup. Team leading the Big 12 at 8-3, coming in, picked 4th in the conference in the preseason. Kansas State, off the heels of a phenomenal season a year ago, was the preseason favorite. Oklahoma picked 5th. So Hinojosa, who struck out looking in the first, starts it off here in the fourth. Hitting .271 this sophomore season coming in. Hit .309 as a freshman last year.
Ballyhooed kid. If he had an injury senior year of high school, otherwise probably was going to be a high enough draft pick to never come to college. But good for Texas. He's been a great player for 2 years.
You know, we talk about, too, the drop of about 30 or so points from freshman to sophomore season. We've seen it all across the country. It's part of baseball going from that freshman season to a sophomore season. You did it at Notre Dame. What's the biggest challenge in year 2 from year 1?
You know, I think there's 2 parts to it. One is expectations, and you trying to do a little bit more. The other thing is the scouting reports are more detailed, and people have video on you, and they really know how to attack you in a different way.
So 1 and 2 coming here from Evans to Hinojosa. Hinojosa, high fly ball, and again it's a lookout situation for the defense. Mac James comes up and he makes the play. 1 down.
Under any conditions, any ball in the air is going to be an adventure. But for Oklahoma, their one main challenge, you love the talent on this roster, but a lot of people are out of position. Mac James, the catcher, playing left.
Right. Here comes Madison Carter now. There's Evans. You see, settled down relatively nicely after giving up the leadoff home run. That's strike 1 to Carter. Carter comes in hitting .444, 4 for 9 on the season against left-handed pitching. .313 on the season coming in.
Evans doing a nice job with that changeup. We've seen 2 swing and misses on that changeup just this inning alone. That's really not a pitch that's going to be on the scouting report, but it's a factor today.
And that ball driven into the gap in right center field, but over to cut it off is Haley. It will be a single for Madison Carter.
Madison Carter's a guy, just what Coach Garrido talked about, just a senior giving you energy. That's a perfect offensive approach. You get fastball away, you go the other way with it, and he's a guy that's in that lineup because that energy he brings, the competitive at bats.
So here comes the one son, I should say, one son of Roger Clemens, Casey Clemens, who flew to left in the second inning. Big first baseman out of Houston. You talk about his elite pitch recognition, particularly for a freshman, and you've got to think some of that comes from Roger Clemens, his dad throwing to him as a youngster.
Hard to build self-esteem when that guy's throwing you BP as a kid, right? It's like, I can't hit. Well, no, that's not that you can't hit. It's just that you're BP thrower.
Or if the rocket isn't such the rocket, you know, more of just like a slower spaceship, and he lets you hit him, now you're hitting Roger Clemens. So it could go the other way.
I like it. I like the way you're spinning that.
Now you take a look at what Oklahoma does. It's an interesting thing. Pete Hughes does it in a double play situation. Again, we mentioned this earlier, which OU now has with a Texas runner on first. Hector Lorenzana moves over from short to second and replaces Keach Ballard, who moves over to short. And the reason is because they like the way that Lorenzana can turn that double play. In this case, it doesn't matter as Clemens rips a base hit into center field, and now OU has runners on the corners and one out. Now it's interesting to see here because you still have the double play opportunity.
And they'll stay with that, right?
And they do. Yep.
And that's a good piece of hitting by Casey Clemens. That's a left on left, a really good left-handed pitcher. But he's hitting 240, but the on-base percentage is 386. That tells you that freshman hitter's got a chance. He's seeing pitches, giving you good at-bats. That, to me, I'm always going to gamble on that guy finding the stroke.
So now runners on the corners and one away for Zane Gurwitz. 351 this season with runners in scoring position. Lorenzana does stay at second base while Ballard plays short for OU, so the switch is on with a double play still possible for Pete Hughes' Sooners.
I always like some type of action here. You know, first and third, one out, you hit into a double play. It's such a momentum killer.
Yeah, swing and a miss.
And that's a swing, as you know, as Coach Garrido's calling the offense. You see a guy miss a changeup by that much. That where you might be, okay, now it's time that we go hit and run. Now it's hard to hit and run against a left-handed pitcher, and we have a freshman base runner. That's probably why you wouldn't do it.
Well, he shows bunt there, and then the throw back to third. Oh, they nearly got Carter, but a great job by Madison Carter of getting back. Well, you talk about killing momentum. That would have done it for Texas.
Absolutely. And you like, you know, of course, Coach Garrido saw what we saw. Man, that could easily go the other way, right? That's
yeah.
Bang, bang.
That is bang, bang. The tag from Noisy was right there. That was as close to a tie as you will get.
Really hard base running play, though. If it does safety squeeze, you've got to get a good jump. So it puts a lot of pressure on the runner, Carter.
And here comes the 2-1 now. Swung and missed, but it gets by Anthony Hermelin. Carter comes in, and Texas regains the lead.
That's, you know, this is where Garza's really got to compose himself. You make an outstanding pitch, and you don't get rewarded for it. This is just a great breaking ball. Hermelin just not able to block that up. And you know, again, you feel for Evans. That is, he made the pitch and just didn't get rewarded.
So now that takes away the double play. As Gurwitz is up, Clemens stands on second. High fly ball. Austin O'Brien, the first baseman, looks for it. It's trouble now for Ballard. It drops into shallow right field. Hustling all the way around to second was Gurwitz. Clemens ends up at third. And how about what Augie was talking about to us? Run everything out. Do all the little things right. Gurwitz put his head down and ran and ended up at second base here.
And if you're Keach Ballard, the mistake was right off the bat. He didn't see it good. And even though it's hit to O'Brien, the first baseman, you've got to believe it's going to be your ball. And to your point, Gurwitz, very difficult. You know you've popped out to still have the discipline to put your head down and sprint to second base. And Zane Gurwitz did a great job of that.
They call it a double for Gurwitz. The most lightly hit double he's probably ever had. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not just the flags in center field that are moving. The flag poles are shaking.
Yeah, we talked about this adjustment, Dari. It's so easy to say from here, but you literally have to tell yourself, if I think a ball is hit to the guy to my left, I'm taking that ball. And you're again, you have to go against what your eyes tell you.
Meeting at the mound is over, and here comes Brooks Marlo, and this is what he did to start this game for Texas.
Trying to go fastball in and just didn't happen. I mean, that's amazing.
That is a wind-driven home run. So 2 on, 1 away here in the 4th for Marlo. Curveball in for a strike. Marlo homered and then flew to center field in his second at-bat. Clemens on third, Gerwitz on second, 2-1 Texas. Ground ball first. O'Brien's got it. He'll make the play at first, but in comes Casey Clemens for a second Texas run of the inning, and it's 3-1 Horns.
It's an excellent approach by Brooks Marlo right there. Take your own stats out of the equation, just like Coach Garrido talked about runs and RBIs over batting average. That's not a swing for your own batting average. That's I need to get my team one more run.
It's got to make him happy to watch this team. 2 difficult seasons, missing the postseason. They may be hosting for a while on their road to Omaha if they continue this way as Ben Johnson steps in now.
And like they told us, I mean, they didn't really work on baseball this fall. They worked on attitude. They worked on mental toughness. And the baseball, there's plenty of baseball ability and repetitions to be had. That they worked on changing the culture of the program.
And there's a strike to Johnson.
I think that goes to the wisdom of a Coach Garrido, where how many coaches would say, what do I need to recreate? I've won 5 national titles, but he had the wherewithal to recognize that and make that change.
And it's outside, 2-2 now to Ben Johnson.
You worry about Jacob Evans. You're asking him to do a lot. He's a reliever. He's going deep in this game. There's been a lot of stress. His defense has let him down twice. He's made so many great pitches in big times, but you worry about fatigue setting in here.
Beg your pardon, 1-2, now 2-2. Jacob Evans set it. A freshman All-American as a closer last year out of Broken Arrow High School. Broken Arrow Tiger in Oklahoma. You know who else played ball at Broken Arrow as a pitcher? Brad Penny. And that ball got a piece of it. So O'Brien hit by the pitch. And now you've got real trouble if you're OU, because you have 2 on, and Texas's best hitter, Mark Payton, who has 2 doubles on the day, stepping in.
That's just another weapon for Texas right there with 2 strikes. Hold your ground. If you get a chance to wear one and get yourself first base, you do it. And to your point, Dari, now you got to deal with Mark Payton, who's basically your Big 12 Player of the Year to this point.
And Payton first pitch swinging. Keith Ballard makes the play, throws O'Brien off the bag. In comes Gerwitz, and Oklahoma is imploding here in the 4th.
Yeah, again, for Jacob Evans, there's only so much you can do. You take as good a hit, one of the best hitters in the country, and you get him to ground out, and that's a ball where you just, if you're Keith Ballard, you can't throw that change up. You just got to let it loose, trust yourself to first base.
Easy call, error on Ballard and a run in. So now 4-1 Texas in the 4th as Tres Barrera comes in. Still 2 Longhorns on base. So Ben Johnson on second, Mark Payton on first, and Barrera, who has walked and singled, is up. Ground ball, noisy. No throw needed here, and maybe that's a good thing. 3-run score, though, for Texas. It wasn't pretty for the Crimson and Cream, but the Burnt Orange will take it. Looking for a sweep here in Norman and a 10th straight win in this ballpark. 3 score. It's a 4-1 Texas lead. Welcome back to Norman. Mike Rooney, Dari Noka with you. It's 4-1 Texas after Oklahoma The pass ball allow a run, an error on the second baseman Keach Ballard allowed a run, and Texas now has the 3-run lead. As you take a look around the country, well, how about the two-way star at Kentucky? First baseman and pitcher A.J. Reed. Jameis Winston, what he's done for Florida State, 4 saves for the Noles, although he was busy playing in the spring game yesterday in Tallahassee. Left Atlanta where they were playing Georgia Tech. Played football on Saturday. He's back in Atlanta with the baseball team today. And then Mark Payton, who just continues to do damage for Texas.
And that's Mark Payton. That fits to Texas's style. A.J. Reed, I mean, that's 14 home runs. You're the Friday night starter in the SEC. 14 home runs in BB Correa. That's like 80 home runs 5 years ago. I mean, that kid is having a year.
And Payton's streak now of games reaching bases up to 77. That's tops in the country. As we go to the bottom of the 4th, and Anthony Hermelin, the Oklahoma catcher, leads off against Nathan Thornhill.
I'll tell you, if you're Oklahoma, it's been a weekend where you feel like you just can't get over the hump. If you're being positive, though, if there's ever a day where you could come from behind, it's today with this roster and this wind, and their bullpen is fresh. They really have a lot of arms left.
Fly ball right field. Collin Shaw makes it look easy, relatively speaking. 1 down.
Robert Tessine did a great job for OU yesterday, giving them 5 innings out of the pen. And this bullpen for Oklahoma this is one of the strengths. Ralph Garza Jr., Kendall Ladd, Drew Crittenbrink, Kyle Hayes. So if you can just hang around, who knows? Anything can happen with this type of weather pattern.
What's the approach now if you're Nathan Thornhill? How do you continue to attack this team now that you've been staked to a 4-1 lead?
You got to attack the zone. If they're going to do something, they've got to earn it. So your offense is giving you the luxury of, I may give up some hits, I may even give up a home run, but there's not going to be a walk, and typically my defense is not going to make any errors.
Nico Buentello, the DH, steps in now with 1 out. Ground ball right back at Thornhill, but through the middle for a base hit. So Nico Buentello with a 1-out single.
And that's the one thing, Nico Buentello and Austin O'Brien, those 2 really powerful freshmen. You see that, that's just a swing with some authority. What you see with those guys sometimes is their swing and miss, and then it affects their aggressiveness. You know that's what Pete Hughes is telling them is, just give me 3 of your best swings on a pitch that you can handle.
So here comes the oh-so-dangerous Mac James, leading the Big 12 in hitting, up over 380. Dangerous with runners on, hitting 394 in that situation this season. James, third base. Gerwitz to second for 1. Marlo to first, and a double play. So Thornhill faces the minimum in the inning. 4-1 Texas. Coming up, we talk with the head coach of the Sooners, Pete Hughes. He'll join us in a moment. Just Dari and Mike, how are you?
Hey, fellas.
Right,
aggravated. Aggravated.
Right.
More later. Softball coming up later tonight on ESPNU as MEAC rivals collide. As Coppin State takes on Delaware State. College softball tonight, 6:30 Eastern on ESPNU, and watch ESPN. As we are joined by the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Pete Hughes, in his first season here at OU. And I know it's a lot about the little things, and we saw there in the last inning a little bit of sloppiness from your baseball team. Coach, what are you seeing out there this afternoon?
Yeah, it's soft. You can't give, Texas or anybody for that matter 5 or 6 outs an inning, and try to survive. So it's damage control now. It's soft runs, soft errors, and it makes our job a little tougher today.
And Pete, you've had a lot of coaching opportunities. What got you excited about Oklahoma? Why Oklahoma OU for you?
The tradition here is just, and they're good at everything. Every sport they compete for a national championship, and I came here for the opportunity to do that, and they have the resources to do it and the people in place to do it.
All right, Pete Hughes. Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks for taking it easy on me, boys.
You and I were talking to him before the game. I have not laughed so hard in a long time. He is hilarious, incredibly honest. He will tell it like it is. There's no question about that. And, part of that perhaps is the Boston in him, right? The Massachusetts native. Jacob Evans working in his 5th inning here. Texas sending up Numbers 5, 6, and 7 in their lineup. Right fielder Collin Shaw leading it off. You see what he's done, Runes. What stands out to you?
He has been phenomenal. I think you can throw the stats out, really. He has just made big pitches, and this could easily be, you know, a one game. I think Jacob Evans has been outstanding, and I think he's a guy, if I'm Pete Hughes, he's my Sunday guy from now on. I think he's really shown you a lot. And the thing is, you've got so much depth in your bullpen already. If he can do this every Sunday, you're going to have a chance.
And again, you hear that, and if you haven't been watching or you're just tuning in and you see it's 4-1 Texas, you say, wait, what are you talking about? But he hasn't got much help behind him. The conditions, again, a 30-mile-an-hour wind straight out to left field. It's a difficult day to pitch, and you need your defense to help you, and it hasn't. Now, again, the error by Keach Ballard in the last inning got a run home. Pass ball that got by his catcher Hermelin got a run home. It was a nightmarish fourth, but it's still 4-1 in a game in which some more runs likely will be scored.
And
oh, go ahead.
It's not just how he's shown you the third pitch. You always worry about a starter without a third pitch, but he's shown a very good changeup. He's been able to go fastball in. You knew that curveball could be a factor. So the way he's pitching, telling me I want to get him more innings.
1-2 coming from Evans to Collin Shaw. It's 2-2. You know, Pete, one thing Pete Hughes was talking about before the game, said last night he made his kids watch the National Hockey Championship, Union College and Minnesota. Union College, the underdog story, they win that championship. 3-2 now. He said, I make my kids watch every NCAA championship event. When he lived in Virginia, they would go to Salem and watch the Division III football championship. They live now in Oklahoma. They went to Oklahoma City for the National Wrestling Championships. Because he wants his kids to see what it looks like when players and athletes leave nothing behind. They put everything they have into something. When a championship's on the line, that's what he wants to see his kids. That's what he wants to teach them, how to perform day in and day out. I thought that was incredibly interesting. Swing, foul tip, caught by Hermelin for the out, one away in the fifth.
I agree, and he really talked about the Division III football championship and wrestling, and you know, the Union College, where I think they had one drafted player. So kids because in baseball we get very distracted by the draft, and you know, obviously there's a lot of money in the baseball draft, there's a lot of money in pro baseball, and the purity of the sport is really what he's after there.
C.J. Hinojosa steps in, takes the first pitch strike, one out here in the Texas fifth. It's a long fly ball, but look out, it could come back into play. And again, that's another one of those balls that's headed easily out of play and just flirted with the idea of extra bases. Had it landed fair, as you see the flags again, just it's a good old-fashioned Oklahoma Southern Plains windy day. Straight out to left. Southern breeze taking you right down the third base line.
You really need to talk on defense on a day, almost like remind the guy to your left, hey, a ball hit to me is probably hit to you. You know, that's you got to really talk through that over and over again.
So 2-2 now to Hinojosa. Struck out looking in the first and flew to left in the fourth. Number 6 hitter in Augie Garrido's lineup. 7, 8, 9 of all reach base via a hit and scores. Hinojosa, base hit into left field. So 1 on now with 1 away for Texas in the fifth.
This is a good adjustment by Hinojosa. He had gotten that fastball stuffed in on him twice and then sees the off speed down the way. Just does a good job staying with it, gets the barrel to it. Hinojosa, this is a talented kid. It's not put up huge numbers, but to play short every day, this is a good player.
So Hinojosa's on first. Madison Carter, the DH, now for Texas. And check over on CJ. Madison Carter's been a nice story too, hitting over 300. Didn't get a lot of playing time early this season, but eventually, after a great attitude, doing anything he could for this team, off the bench or otherwise, started to get more reps, and now you see him as pretty much the everyday designated hitter. 9th start of the season here for Carter.
Coach Garrido typically will give a guy one swing and then see what happens from there. You see that maybe he could bunt for a hit here. Maybe he could hit and run with man on first, one out. Especially, it looks like Carter's might have tweaked something there. So maybe you give him a bunt or a hit and run to give him a break from a swing, too.
Yeah, needing perhaps a little extra time there in the box.
He tweaked something.
He did, didn't he? Oh, off speed got him 0-2 now. How aggressive would you be right now with a 3-run lead here in the 5th? You've got Hinojosa at first. He's 2 for 3 on stolen base attempts. You don't have a ton of speed, but well, now we're looking at Carter. Let's see if we could figure out what happened to Madison Carter.
It's, you know, it looks like that oblique injury that has really just been a rampant injury in all sports. It's fastball. Yeah, it didn't feel. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, hand right there on the waist area, the hip, the waist, left side.
That is, isn't it amazing how that injury, like, do we not have obliques as kids? Is this a new muscle or something?
Yeah,
it's this muscle, and that's a serious injury. That he's in pain. That hurts. I just don't remember it when I was.
No, well, I mean, that's the same with ACL. I mean, you never, that again. That's the last 10 years.
Well, I know.
We've always had them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so defined as it is now in sport.
I never had to worry about those ligament injuries because there was not enough personal velocity happening to create.
Is that right? Yeah.
You have to run a 4.3 or throw 96 to do that.
So Carter hangs out in there, and that's a breaking ball outside with 2-2 now.
I mean, you got to just go fastball down the middle right now. I'm not convinced he can swing. You know, if I'm Evans, I'm just going right at him. If you really want to be mean, go fastball in.
Well, it was in.
Yep.
2-2 now. Presidentially named Madison Carter.
Well, and you love a kid like Madison Carter. If he can stand up, he's hitting, right? I mean, you're a senior. You've waited to play at your dream school. If I can stand, I'm playing. Thank you. You know, there is no injury keeping me off the field if I can help it. And that's why he's in the lineup. You know, those types of kids that are so desperate to play and love it so much, that's a huge impact on your freshman class.
Off speed, off the plate, full count now. This is, you can't walk him right here if you're Evans. He's not 100%. You've seen that with him in the box in this at bat. What a mistake it would be.
And sometimes that's harder because mentally you know that, and it makes it even harder to throw a strike.
Hinojosa on first, 1 out in the top of the 5th. They check over on CJ again.
Evans does a really nice job with the running game. That's a good move. He's athletic. He does a nice job changing his patterns.
Strike 3 call. He's gone to that pitch on a couple of punch outs so far this afternoon.
That curveball is such a weapon. The fastball is what caused the injury, and then it's a ton of breaking balls, and that's a pitch that Evans really believes in. It's got sharp break, and then you mix in the fastball in, which speeds up the bat to try and deal with the curveball. Again, I'm not convinced Carter was capable of swinging right there. We'll see if he comes out for another at bat. But that's the thing for Jacob Evans is that curveball is a when in doubt, I can go to that pitch and I trust it.
So 2 down now for Casey Clemens, who singled and scored in that 3-run 4th inning. Roger, by the way, here at the game today, sitting, I believe, in the booth next to us. If reports are accurate, it would be Roger Clemens and OU's own Toby Keith hanging out together.
Hopefully we don't get a tap on the shoulder saying, hey, I heard you said I killed my kid's confidence. Hopefully that comment doesn't come back to hurt me.
I believe that was you who suggested that.
That's right. So we're clear. We can define fault in this instance. I just see a dinner table conversation. Mrs. Clemens talking to the Rockets saying, it's come to my attention that the batting practice is too stiff. And you, my husband, need to ease up on your boys.
Our kids need to feel that they can hit a big league pitcher.
That's really the only person that could have that conversation.
No, you're right. Yep. It comes with a wife territory.
That's right. That's right.
So Hinojosa remains at first, 2 outs, and again the check over to see if.
And I think what that is really is trying to get the bullpen going. Give them. They're probably feeling like Evans is giving them everything and starting to fatigue a little bit. So you want to get Crittenbrink going here.
Drew Crittenbrink getting loose in there. He's a redshirt senior, 5th-year guy from Okarche, Oklahoma. Number 42 getting loose in the OU bullpen. Oh, Clemens fooled badly on the pitch from Jacob Evans. So now 2-2, 2 out, 1 on, and a big pitch coming for OU.
Left on left, that breaking ball is almost unfair. And that is a great pitch to a left-handed hitter, especially a freshman left-handed hitter.
Clemens, wow, reached out and got it and drove it. Mac James makes the play. So Texas does no damage there in the 5th. We're halfway through this one. It is 4-1. Texas looking for a sweep in Norman. Welcome back to Norman, and you take a look out towards the north, towards Oklahoma City. There are some significant storms out that way. We'll hope it doesn't come down into Norman, as we are joined right now by the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Augie Garrido, joining us. And coach, a 4-1 lead right now, and Nathan Thornhill, he hadn't given up the run in a while, but he did this afternoon. All in all, though, he looks good. What are your impressions?
He looks good.
Okay, thank you.
I'm with you, man. He looks good.
Yeah.
But on a day like this, anything can happen in any inning. You just have to use your innings to try and score as many runs as you can.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about 2 freshmen, Zane Gurwitz and Tres Pereira, who early on had difficult results, but now the results have come. And talk about those kids' mental toughness to fight through that.
Well, I think that they really have accepted the fact that they belong, and that that they have it within themselves as a baseball player to be able to perform it at a D1 school and help the team win the game. And it's just finally the success that they've had has brought them a lot of confidence.
Augie Garrido, as always, we appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of the afternoon.
Back at you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
1,902 wins, most in the history of NCAA baseball at any level. So we go to the bottom of the 5th here, and now, all right, so we showed you the sky. And now the umpiring crew, Jeff Hendricks, Mark Lewis, Chris Koski, Randy Bruns, they are concerned at, well, we're trying to figure out right now at this point. There is significant weather towards Oklahoma City, about 15-20 minutes north of here. The crew is looking. Did we see a bolt of lightning, perhaps? Indeed, that's what it is. Again, it's been the threat of significant, severe storms throughout the day. And there is lightning seen. Now, this is what we're looking at. You see the blue pin there. That's Norman, just south of Oklahoma City. And this significant line of thunderstorms continues to grow towards the south. Lightning has been seen within 8 miles. And by that, there is an automatic stoppage of play. We thank AccuWeather for providing the most up-to-date weather maps in our area. And again, this is a storm that has been threatening. It's been in the forecast. This is not a surprise. It's Oklahoma. It's spring. And we don't need to tell the folks around here how serious it can be. They've seen enough in this area and more up the road between Norman and Oklahoma City. And so right now the Lightning has the teams heading into the dugouts. How do you approach something like this? You don't know how long it's going to be, Mike.
Well, I think if you're Oklahoma, if this game can resume, this is just what the doctor ordered. It's a chance. You've got tons of pitching. We talked about the bullpen depth, and so that's a positive. And you know, you just need something to break the momentum of really this, not just this game, but this series. I think the bigger concern is if you're Texas, You probably can even bring Thornhill back depending on what happens. It's much harder, I think, to keep the momentum if you're the team that's really had it going like Texas.
So again, lightning seen within 8 miles. Again, a significant line of storms as we showed you there on the AccuWeather map. I mean, it's you know, it's this part of the country. You look directly above us, all we see is blue. But you look off to the north, and again, this is what we're looking at when we look out to the north, beyond the left field wall and that way towards OKC. And it's that line of storms, and that is a lot of red, and that is something you don't want to mess around with on the AccuWeather map here. And you can see the tail end of that. I don't want to go into meteorological mode here, but it's getting longer. And if it continues, it will indeed certainly come through this Norman area.
I gotta say, Dart, plus command
like
of the map right there. The colors and the. I mean, you may have missed your calling right there. That was well done.
I considered it. Yes, I considered it. I did go to a school where there's a great history of meteorology.
I wonder what would Oklahoma consider artificial turf? Maybe at this park like this.
Now,
I mean, I guess it's more lightning than rain.
Yeah, it is, and the threat is there. So here we go. We have a weather delay. E60 is coming up. We will be back with the latest as soon as we have it. Who wants to play a little baseball on a Sunday? Huh? We're ready to go. A 2-hour weather delay. 3:59 Oklahoma time. Lightning struck, and we are just now getting ready to get going at about 6 o'clock. All right, so where do we sit? 4-1 Texas. Here's how we do it. Leadoff man of this game goes yard. Brooks Marlo, second home run of the season for Brooks. And then in the Oklahoma third, they pair together a couple of hits. How about a Keach Ballard double into the gap in left center field? He was followed by Hector Lorenzana, who drove him in with a base hit. And then as we go to the Texas fourth, Dory Noka, Mike Rooney here with you. Runes, it got ugly for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Jacob Evans really threw the ball great, but Oklahoma did not do him any favors. You get the pass ball, and then this, you know, any ball in the air has been really tricky. Ballard had a tough time with that. And again, now you get the ground ball, and Ballard just doesn't execute the play, doesn't make the throw. And that's really the difference in the game at this point.
All right, so now, we had the storm go through a huge line of storms all the way up through Missouri and down into this area. The flags, if you were watching earlier, were blowing every bit as hard, maybe harder, but the other way, towards left field. Now they're blowing out towards right. The storm came from that way. So now they're blowing out of the wind is out of the north and west, which means the temperature has dropped 14 degrees. And now Nathan Thornhill, who did start this game, who has sat through the last 2 hours without throwing a baseball, will continue his outing. Mike Rooney, what do you make of this?
You know, he's got experience as a reliever, and he only at 42 pitches. So I don't think you'll see him go very long. It wouldn't be typically a normal pitch count, but he is a guy that's been used to getting up and not throwing. And so, you know, luckily his pitch count was down.
Well, the first batter he faces for the Sooners is the first baseman, the freshman Austin O'Brien, who struck out in the second in his only at-bat. This game again started 3.5 hours ago. O'Brien sends one into right field. Now the wind blowing it, of course, that direction, making it treacherous for a Collin Shaw or any other right fielder, but he makes the play.
You know, again, any ball in the air. Now you still have the extreme, but you got to change your brain again. It's the exact opposite. So you see Shaw did a nice job staying with that play. That's not an easy play by any stretch.
Well, this is, again, this is Oklahoma as Keach Ballard comes up, the second baseman who doubled and scored the only Sooner run. This is a storm system comes through here, and I realize it's not only Oklahoma where this happens, but of course this is Tornado Alley, and this is an area known for this. A storm system comes through, drastically changes the weather. We got to 82 degrees earlier today. It's 68. It's going to continue to fall, and by the end of the night, we're looking at about 39 degrees. So that's what we're in for here in the Norman area. So Keach Ballard's day is done as Oklahoma has pinch hit. Taylor Allspaw comes in. Allspaw out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Union High School, 6'1" junior. And he takes strike one, 1-1.
Is that your Union High School?
That would be my alma mater high school, Union High School. Yeah.
So Taylor would be the second most famous alum from Union.
Not so sure about that. But it's nice of you to say.
Thank you. We're here for you.
Well, yeah.
Thornhill down in the zone. I tell you this, I thought both guys did an outstanding job. Awful pitching conditions, perfect hitting conditions, and Evans and Thornhill were fantastic. And Thornhill continues.
Thornhill gets the called third strike, so Allspah's first visit to the plate does not go well.
You know, that's typically Thornhill will throw the cutter to the right-handers and the curveball to the lefties. There it is, that breaking ball. And, you know, again, it was a 2-hour delay for the umpires, too. Long day. If I'm hitting, I'm looking to expand the strike zone. I mean, this is...
You know, as Hector Lorenzana steps in, I'm a little surprised, Runes, but maybe you're not here, that Ballard was pinch hit for. Ballard, one of the few Sooners that's made good contact today. He had a double into the gap in left center field in his at-bat, scored their only run, and then he was just removed for Allspah. There's a little chopper over to play it from his third base position is Zane Gurwitz. Throws across the diamond to Casey Clemens, and the inning is over. So a little after 2 hours after it was supposed to start, the bottom of the fifth started and ended with nothing happening for Oklahoma. Welcome back to Norman. 4-1 Texas leading as we go to the sixth. Mike Rooney and Dari Noka with you here. We've got big defensive changes, and we're trying to get those all sorted out at the moment. As Taylor Allspah came in and hit a moment ago for the second baseman Keith Ballard. So now here we go. All right, so we're ready to rock and roll. Let's read these off to you here. The new right fielder is Allspah, who just hit for Ballard. The new left fielder for Oklahoma is Hunter Haley, who moves over from right. All right, the new third baseman for Oklahoma. I'm looking off of the roster here to make sure I follow everybody. Mac James now moves from left to third. You writing all these down here, Runes?
Gotcha.
All right, cool. Shortstop for Oklahoma is now Sheldon Noisy, who moves over from third. And the new pitcher for Oklahoma, as we expected, is Drew Crittenbrink, who had warmed up in the initial part of this game before the delay. And he replaces now Jacob Evans, whose outing is finished after 5 innings of work, giving up 4 runs, and stands in position to take the loss unless the Sooner bats can get going. So with all of that said, we're ready to fire up the sixth. Zane Gurwitz, third baseman for the Longhorns, steps up as a 1-1 count. And that is hit into the gap in left center field. Not quite the gap, as the center fielder Aiken, who is not a change positionally, makes the play.
That ball is blistered by Gurwitz. Again, you talk about, like with Brooks Marlowe, the smaller player, you have to stay above the baseball because that ball is crushed, but it's just an out. One thing Oklahoma's doing, I like what Pete Hughes has got going here. He's sold out for offense. Mac James is not traditionally a third baseman, and they're really, he's going to try and put some crooked numbers up there and outscore Texas from here.
So we go to the top of the order. Yes, top of the order, and that's Brooks Marlowe, of course, led off the game with a home run.
You worry about the defense. It is a gamble. That this is not a super strong Oklahoma infield defense right now. So you're all in on offense.
Wholesale changes here, essentially, for Pete Hughes. I'm still playing catch-up over here, Rose. You may have to call this thing for a while. I think we're there.
I'll tell you, I love the move by Coach Hughes, but highly inconsiderate of our scorebooks.
Just crushing our scorebooks. There is no question. All right, Crittenbrink on the season comes in, and you can see this is his 17th appearance. ERA is nice and sparkly, 2.1. He's a redshirt senior, 5th-year guy from Okarche High School in Okarche, Oklahoma.
You can tell from the numbers he can miss a bat. That's more than one strikeout an inning, but also he's good, like he just did with Brooks Marlo. He can also be out of the zone too. So the key now is throwing strikes. However, Oklahoma's got a ton of depth in their bullpen right now, so they don't have to stay with him long if he's not in the zone.
So Ben Johnson now up. Johnson sends that to the corner and right. It just gets down in fair territory. Marlo going to score from first. Johnson around second. He heads for third. And it is a triple for Ben Johnson, his third of the season. And for Johnson, it is RBI number 19. And it's 5-1 Texas.
Well, you talk about a difference for Johnson and for Texas. As a freshman, he's not doing that. That's fastball out and away. He does not try to pull it and just rips it down the right field line with his athleticism and speed. Not only is that an RBI triple, but now you've got a runner on third with one out with the best hitter in the conference up.
Yeah, Mark Payton steps in now. He's 2 for 3 on the day, a couple of doubles. So one out, and Texas threatening to perhaps make this out of reach here for Oklahoma if they can tack on another 1 or 2. Of course, yes, the Oklahoma bats are good, but maybe their best chance is to get into that Texas bullpen, which may happen because of that 2-hour delay.
And infield's in. Johnson's still going to most likely try and score here on the contact play.
Well, that just missed there. So 1-1.
I've always believed with nobody out, you want to see a ground ball through. With one out, pressure the defense, especially at the college level. And this is not Oklahoma's #1 infield defense. So make this infield defense make a play at the dish.
Payton, a dangerous hitter at all times, hitting .417 on the season with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, and that's the position he has now. I take that 4 of 7, runner on third, less than 2 outs. That would be better than .417.
Yes, that's right.
Fouls it back, 2-2.
I'll tell you that Texas, the defense, the run prevention, the pitching, phenomenal. The offensive approach is what's jumped out to me this weekend and today. Brooks Marlo just runs a veteran at bat, draws that walk. Johnson uses the other side of the field. Those types of things are very difficult to pitch to for 9 innings.
So the 2-2 now fouled away.
So much of pitching is based on the premise of take advantage of hitters trying to do too much. Hitters getting greedy. Texas's guys don't do that.
So Drew Crittenbrink, the 5th-year senior, looks in. The 2-2 in the dirt, 3-2.
That's the other challenge with the wind conditions changing. I'm not convinced we really know what this wind is doing, because you saw Gerwitz's ball was blistered, and then the ball to right field that Shaw caught in the last half inning, I'm surprised that ball didn't carry better.
Full count pitch, 1 out, grounder, shortstop, good play by Noisy, throws to third, and they get the runner. Mac James there applies the tag, and Ben Johnson is out. What a break defensively, and a nicely played ball by Noisy.
Noisy it's amazing how he can play at such a slow pace as a freshman. The game does not speed up. Really feel like it's a base running mistake by Johnson. If you're going to go on contact, you got to commit to it and go and make Noisy. Remember, Noisy's going to his left. He's going to have to reset himself and throw to the dish. So, that's, man, Noisy really plays with that slow pulse.
So the catcher, Tres Barrera, steps in. 1 for 2, also walked in this game. And
one thing you do see Texas and a lot of West Coast teams do is, in that case, Johnson would commit more to home plate, make Noisy throw to the dish, and get in a rundown and get Mark Payton to second base. So now at least you have a runner still in scoring position. This is kind of the worst case scenario.
And Barrera takes ball 2, 2-0.
And again, that could be, for Ben Johnson, that's the football again. We don't quite have his play is so much better this year than last year, but not all of the instincts are quite there. We're still looking for more repetitions.
In the Oklahoma half of the 6th, the Sooners will go back to the top of the order. Craig Aiken, Hunter Haley, and then Sheldon Noisy due up for OU. There's a strike in the outside corner. 2-1 now from Crittenbrink.
Just feels like Oklahoma lacks momentum right now, and maybe that play can get them going. They just need something to jumpstart them.
In this game and in the season right now, it has just kind of gone downhill there as that's strike 2. I mean, this is a guy, Crittenbrink. We look at him on the mound here. Came out as a freshman, was cut. Didn't get a chance there. Then he came back as a sophomore. Made the team, pitched sporadically for a couple of years. Here he is getting more of an opportunity, but he has paid his dues here for Oklahoma.
Awesome to see stories like that.
And now here he is trying to stop a slide, prevent a sweep at the hands of their arch rivals. And that ball got a piece of Tres Barrera. So now, first and second with 2 outs, and Collin Shaw, the right fielder, steps in. And I want to see this one more time. It certainly was in on Barrera, obviously. I'm wondering how far in if we get another look at this. Now a meeting at the mound.
Yeah, he just holds his ground. You know, that definitely, it's a breaking ball that Crittenbrink lost. That's a big part of their 2-strike approach is don't get out of the way. You're allowed to hold your ground, and you get 2 strikes on you, you'll take first base all day long.
Now Jamie Pinzino, pitching coach, comes out to have a word with Crittenbrink. And more activity. Kyle Hayes, righty reliever, starts to warm up here for the Sooners. 6'2" senior from Santee, California. Big strikeout guy. So Hayes warming up. Crittenbrink in some trouble. 2 on, 2 out, down 5-1. Here is Oklahoma in the top of the 6th. There's Collin Shaw. Shaw grounder right back at Crittenbrink. Fields his position, throws to first for the out. So 1 across for Texas in the 6th. And some damage done by Ben Johnson, whose triple drove in Brooks Marlo. 5-1 Horns. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 7:30 Eastern as LSU takes on Ole Miss in an SEC showdown. LSU and the Rebels of Ole Miss Thursday 7:30 Eastern on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPN. Very tightly packed SEC this season. A little more fun this way than when you see teams like the LSUs and the Vandy's just running away and winning divisions by some 9 games.
Absolutely.
You know, the USA Today coaches poll right now, 2 ACC schools at the top. How about Louisiana Lafayette? How about Cal Poly? How about Houston?
Awesome to see those new names on there. Unfortunately, Houston got swept this week at home by Louisville. But yeah, just it again talks about how little separation there is in college baseball. So many schools are invested and taking it seriously, and that's why we get teams like Stony Brook and Kent State and Indiana in Omaha over the last couple of years.
How about the relatively new name of Texas? Yeah. Back in there after a couple of years away. Bottom of the 6th, Nathan Thornhill remains on the mound for the Longhorns.
It's more sabbatical for the Horns.
Yes, it was just a long vacation. You know, a former Longhorn, Jordan Spieth, came up short at the Masters today. We got to watch a little of that during the 2 hours we had off.
Absolutely.
If you were not watching, if you recorded it, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Bubba Watson wins the Masters for the 2nd time in 3 years. I've been told he's from Baghdad, Florida. I've also been told he owns at least one version of a General Lee.
Yes, seen it.
How about that?
Awesome.
I didn't know that. I like him even more now.
Yes.
That little Dukes of Hazzard reference, huh? Craig Aiken 3-1. Be big for OU to get the leadoff man aboard here with the top of the order here. And he walks. So leadoff man aboard for Oklahoma. I have an important question here for you, James.
Yes, sir.
If you owned a General Lee, would you drive it or just show it? Would you just park it somewhere?
I'd go to the post office in it. I mean, shopping, absolutely. I would. Come on now, that's that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to climb in through the window.
How about that having to stretch before you go driving? Great show as a kid. Oh my gosh. Friday night sleepovers for that show. It's incredible. Iconic.
Hunter Haley steps in with Aiken on first. 5-1 Texas in the sixth, and Haley sends that first pitch. Foul. Haley flew out and struck out before the delay. Do you start to get aggressive if you're Pete Hughes? Do you consider sending Aiken, who's 5 of 7 on stolen bases? Your team is, you said it, there's no momentum here. Now I realize you have a chance to kill it even further.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think he basically did that by putting that. He's basically got his offense, he's all in offensively on the defensive side. I think the problem with, that is, like you're saying, maybe you give away a couple outs. And I think the other challenge is we really don't know what the wind has got for us. We haven't had that many balls in the air to the outfield. I mean, either way, though, for Thornhill, the leadoff walk is a killer because any ball in the air is going to be a tough out, whether it's blowing in or out.
Now Haley sends that one foul once again. So now the 2-strike count here on the Sooner right fielder. Now moved over to left field.
Again, I like what Pete Hughes did. If you feel like you're not playing great defense anyway, just go all in for offense.
You're not one of the top fielding teams. In fact, 8th out of 9th in the Big 12 in fielding percentage. That's Oklahoma. Haley flies one into center field. Mark Payton makes that play. So now 1 out for Sheldon Noisy. Noisy 0 for 2.
That ball right there, clearly a barometer for what's going on. And that wind did not move it that excessively. Mark Payton didn't seem to struggle very much at all with that. So unfortunate if you're Oklahoma. You could use a few wind-dated runs here.
Noisy, ground ball, shortstop. Throw across the diamond, and Hinojosa makes the 2nd out of the inning. So C.J. Hinojosa across the diamond to Casey Clemens. So Noisy now goes to 0 for 3 on the afternoon as we bring in the catcher, Anthony Hermelin.
To your point, though, the runner's moving. That may have been hit and run right there. And they move the runner and just trying to get something going. I mean, you feel like if you can just get that 2nd run in, maybe you can start to move it forward.
Well, a base hit may just do that as Aiken stands on 2nd, and Hermelin, hitless in 2 at-bats today, steps up. Fouls that one back.
And so much of this you got to credit Nathan Thornhill. He makes pitch after pitch. He's been a warrior for Texas for 4 years. He's pitched on Friday night, reliever, closer, Sunday, and just eats up huge innings for these guys.
Hermelin, ground ball, 3rd, nicely played by Zane Gurwitz across the diamond, and that is a strike to Casey Clemens. And so we are through 6 in Norman as Toby Keith sitting, what is he, 7 feet away from us right there. We're right there. Toby, look to your right. His team's down 5-1. (5-1) Texas as we move to the 7th inning here in Norman, Eldell Mitchell Park. Longhorns looking for a series sweep and a 10th straight win in this stadium. against arch rival Oklahoma. You see what the lineup today has done, and everybody but Collin Shaw has a hit. Top to bottom, that's what they've been doing as they've gone 13-2 in their last 15.
Yeah, Coach Garrido even mentioned it in the Saturday game. 9 guys had a hit, and that they're just tremendous balance. They're getting good at bats, 1 through 9.
There he is, Augie Garrido, 18th year at Texas. He's had a pretty good run before that. Fullerton, oh, and there's the leadoff man. C.J. Hinojosa lays down the bunt. Out at first as Drew Crittenbrink makes a phenomenal play coming off the mound. Wow. How about that effort by a pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, pitchers, let's be honest, they're not very good athletes, but this is a heck of a play right here. That's off the back foot right there. Did you get him? Ooh. That's tight.
That's close.
Yep. Look at that.
So 2 straight hitters now in this game. Going back to the other inning have gone 1-3, although that one I'm not sure. I tend to lean, I think, your way, Runes, on that one. He may have been in there. But Madison Carter, take that back. We've got a pinch hitter. Jacob Feltz comes in for Madison Carter. So Augie Garrido going the way of Pete Hughes, going to the young men that were on the bench previously. Jacob Feltz, 6-foot senior, Orange, Texas. Well, has a ground ball to short. Noisy makes the out.
Well, I hope it's nothing serious with Madison Carter. Seemed to injure that side a little bit. He's been a real big spark for Texas. And Sheldon Noisy just keeps making plays.
Yeah, wherever he is on the field.
I'm convinced he can't play shortstop. He's not convinced. And God bless, I think that's awesome.
And that'll bring in, or up I should say, Casey Clemens, the first baseman.
We're officially distracted. My wife just sent me a text wondering if I've met Toby.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's like the way to stay dialed into the game,
I mean,
Jenny. There you go.
It's a 2-hour delay.
Thank
Jenny.
you. I love it.
He was sharing the suite there with Roger Clemens, who, of course, was here to watch the young man batting right now, his son Casey. I'm not sure if the rocket is still here. As I look to my left, I don't see all of that suite. But I see Toby. Clemens, ground ball, second base. Lorenzana, who had just moved over from short, makes that play. So nothing doing for Texas in the 7th. It's time to stretch, though it feels like we did that recently.
That's right.
For about 2 hours. Mac James, your Big 12 leading hitter, due up second in the OU 7th. They're going to have to get going quickly. Down 5-1. Texas as we go to the bottom of the 7th. You know, yesterday here in Norman, it was the Oklahoma spring football game. A record crowd, 43,500 on hand. I'll tell you who everybody's talking about. It's a kid who can't play this year. He's quarterback Baker Mayfield, who transferred from Texas Tech after he was a walk-on for Cliff Kingsbury. He goes 9 for 9, 125 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and again, because of the transfer from Tech, he has to sit out this year, which is fine, I think, for most OU folks, as Trevor Knight looked pretty good the last time that he hit the field against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Of course, their last championship in football came in the year 2000, second year for Bob Stoops, Josh Heupel and company, leading the Sooners to an unexpected championship. 7 football titles here in Norman. Nico Buentello starting it off for OU, and he was fooled by the off speed there. 1-1. Darinoka, Mike Rooney here with you in Norman. One for 2 today, Buentello. And now 1-2.
And this, again, we talked about it with Buentello, that you can't let that changeup get in your dome. You know, we give us 3 aggressive swings. Trust your hands, see it deep, see something up in the zone. Don't slow your bat speed down just because you're getting anxious about off speed. You know, bust you in here.
And up. So 2-2 now to Buentello. Mac James, the Big 12's leading hitter coming into the game, is on deck. You got to get going, and they got to get going quickly here if they're going to get back into this thing. And that strike 3 called, so Thornhill keeps on going.
That is a 12-6 hammer, or if you're Nico Buenteo, that's a 12-6 nightmare right there. That is,
wow.
You know, first time you see that pitch in a day, that's really difficult to deal with.
Three strikeouts on the afternoon for Nathan Thornhill, the senior. So here comes Mac James, hitting .380, tops in the conference. But he's hitless today in 2 at-bats. Drive to right center field. Back goes Mark Payton, the center fielder, and the right fielder makes a phenomenal catch. Collin Shaw. Wow. Hook that. Man.
If that's not number 1 tonight, good golly. Look at this. I mean, that is absolutely extended. I'll tell you the most impressive part of the play, that ball was hit to center field. He must have started sprinting off the bat. I mean, that ball, look at the tip of the cap. I love it.
But again, the wind sent it his way. You talked earlier when it was blowing the other way. If you're the guy next to the guy who it looks like the ball's going to, you have to be ready. That was the same situation here, was it not? The ball
he
was
must
being
have
blown
been
his
in
way.
a dead sprint at contact. That's really good outfield play. I mean, obviously it's an athletic catch. Amazing.
So Collin Shaw with the highlight of the day for Texas. All right, Austin O'Brien now steps in. And it's quickly 0-2 from Thornhill. I'll tell you what, when you're not getting a break, you're not getting a break. And that's kind of, I think, where Oklahoma feels like it may be. That was well hit, but better played. Ground ball, second base. Marlo takes the high, hops, sets, throws to Clemens. And that's it for OU in the 7th. We go to the 8th, but watch again. Collin Shaw in right. Wow. We go to the 8th. Now Texas taking care of it with the bats, with the arm of Nathan Thornhill, and with the defense. We just saw the remarkable catch out and right by Collin Shaw. And now we go to the 9-hole hitter in the Texas lineup, and just like that, Zane Gurwitz sends one towards the gap in right center field. Taylor Osbaugh can't field it cleanly. Gurwitz pulls in with a double, his second double of the day, and the leadoff man on second for Texas.
Just a beautiful piece of hitting. That's the difference between a freshman that can contribute in Division I college baseball and those that can't. It's just a breaking ball up and away and doesn't try to pull it and stays above the baseball. It's a line drive. Just, I tell you, for Texas, this freshman group is really a special group of hitters.
So we go to the top of the lineup now. Brooks Marlo up for the 5th time. Walked and scored in his last at bat, the 6th. Swinging immediately. Noisy. Another nice play at short.
Well, I guess we're having a shortstop audition today. That is really well hit by Marlo. I'll tell you what sticks out. Watch this arm strength. That's off his back foot. Zzz.
Yep.
I mean, that ball was not limping to first base. That was through the first base.
And that was one of those balls that off the bat it had a bit of a funky spin, and it would have been hard to tell necessarily where it would bounce up on Noisy, but he made a great play of it. So Ben Johnson steps in, tripled and drove in a run in the 6th, and here may be the end of it for Crittenbrink. As Pete Hughes comes out for Oklahoma. First-year head coach. Led Virginia Tech to a couple of postseason berths, including last year.
You know, Pete Hughes, what he did at Virginia Tech was tremendous. They hadn't been to the tournament since 2000. Takes them there twice, but what he did at Boston College was incredible.
Now we can get into what he did there before going to Virginia Tech, but that's it for Crittenbrink. 2 1/3 innings of work. Pete Hughes is indeed making a pitching change. We'll introduce you to the next Sooner arm when we return to Norman. "5-1 Texas, and threatening for more here in the 8th in Norman, looking for a sweep of Oklahoma. More softball coming up. It's later tonight on ESPNU. Right when we are finished, we go to the MEAC as Coppin State takes on Delaware State. College softball tonight, 6:30. Well, actually, whenever we're done. We're past 6:30 thanks to a 2-hour delay. But when we're finished, it'll be right here on ESPNU. And watch ESPN. Ralph Garza Jr., the Oklahoma closer, called into the game here with 1 out in the 8th by head coach Pete Hughes. Garza on the season. Now this is appearance number 22. He's got 7 of OU's 8 saves. Of course, this is not a save situation for him. 26 strikeouts in 26 1/3 innings. Mike Rooney.
Huge weapon for OU at the back of the bullpen. And I like what Pete Hughes is doing again here. Just empty the gun. You know, whatever you got, let's just get it out there at this point. And you got to keep them at 5. And this slider that you're going to see from Garza is a big timeout pitch.
So Ben Johnson up. Zane Gerwitz standing on second after his double to lead off this 8th inning. Johnson well hit left field. Up to make the play, Hunter Haley. Oh, he nearly overran it, didn't he?
He really bum rushed that ball and almost played it into an inside the park home run. That was. It was, gosh, and that Ben Johnson has done that so many times. You see him right now, and he'll look bad on the slider, and then just really drops the head on that fastball right there. It's so exciting, an athlete like that, but now he's making very quick baseball adjustments.
So now Mark Payton steps in. The very dangerous Mark Payton, who has 2 doubles in this game. Chance to make it a 6-1 game, perhaps, with a base hit here, as that first pitch is outside, ball 1. Payton hitting .372 with runners in scoring position on the season. (2-0) now. Payton.
I'll tell you the other thing Mark Payton did earlier in this year that you don't see in a stat sheet is, with so many freshmen playing for UT, he really carried these guys for the first third of the season. He was hitting over 400, probably 20 games in, which gave those freshmen a chance to get their feet underneath of them, and now they're really contributing.
Now he takes strike 1. And this is a team with those freshmen contributing like that. I mean, you look at a Tres Barrera, who's hitting .371 in his last 15 games coming in. Zane Gerwitz hitting .364 in his last 15 games coming in. The team batting average has gone from around the 250, 255 mark to 264, which isn't going to win you any awards. But again, in the last 15 games, they're hitting .299. Now you're starting to talk when you combine that with a pitching staff and defense that Texas has.
Yeah, you have top 10 pitching and defense. Their run prevention's top 5 to 10 in the country. So if they can just be competent offensively, that's more than enough.
Opponents hitting just .194 off of Garza on the season. It's a high foul ball. It gets out of play.
The irony for Texas is they get in trouble when they're trying to do too much.
Now you take a look at Mark Payton, what he's done on the season thus far. Just 12 strikeouts to 29 walks. Tops in the conference and on base. Tops in triples. And we can update that number. 77 straight games he's now reached base, which is the longest streak currently in the nation. 2-2 coming from Garza. And now it runs full.
That's really an incredible stat. Think about that. 77 games. That spans 2 seasons. You know you're getting something positive from Mark Payton every game. And that's not just energy-wise. I mean, statistically, he's given you at least 1 positive every time out.
3-2 pitch coming. Reached out and got a piece of it. Aiken charging in center field. Can't make the play. Run is in. So Gerwitz scores. It goes for a double for Payton, and it's now 6-1 Texas. So Mark Payton with his 3rd double of the day. He came in with 5 on the season.
Started with the changeup, and then it was slider-a-thon. You just see all those breaking balls, and it's a really good breaking pitch too. And you see Payton just stay with it, fouls one off, and again, then he goes fastball in. And this is where if you can just get a ball on the field, sometimes that's enough.
So now Payton's on second in a 6-1 game in the 8th inning with Tres Barrera. Barrera got hit by a pitch his last time up. Walked, singled, and grounded to third his first 3 times. The 1-1.
Been a tough day for Oklahoma pitchers. I mean, again, Garza made good pitches there, right? That should be
sure.
In normal conditions. That's the 3rd out, and you've done a nice job freezing the score and getting your guys in the dugout.
And the strong 25 to 30 mile an hour wind dropped that last one in front of Aiken as we see the base hit to left field, and now Payton's going to score. Little collision at the plate, gets by the catcher Hermelin, and then it's all said and done, goes down as an RBI single for Tres Barrera. 7-1 Texas.
It's only an RBI because Mark Payton's sprinting out of the box on that pop-up, and he's at second base. It's just those little things that Texas is doing. That's just a great freshman hitter with some bat speed right there. Gets that breaking ball, that slider up. One of the few bad ones Garza's thrown. Got a little interesting there.
So Collin Shaw steps up now with Barrera on first. And that is a first pitch rip into center field for a base hit, and everybody right now in burnt orange is hitting the baseball. How about this team? You know, if people that marginally follow college baseball, you look at the poll, you see Texas in, you see Texas climbing week after week after week. You start thinking maybe they're back. What do they do well? Well, they pitch and they play defense if you look statistically. But if you haven't seen them until today and you're spending some time watching them today, you see they're far more than that right now. This is a dangerous, dangerous baseball team right now with not much of a weakness right now, Runes.
You're right. They're really hard to score on, and offensively, they really just single you to death. They execute in a 1-run game. They base run, and they play hard. They play with energy. That's a very good formula.
So there's C.J. Hinojosa.
It's very difficult to pitch to guys that are just trying to get a single. The guys that are getting greedy, you can pitch to. The guys that are just staying above the ball, using the whole field, very difficult to pitch to them.
Hinojosa fouls that one off. He's 1 for 4 today. Count sits at 1-2 here from Garza, who at this point it really is damage control for OU. 6 outs to go to avoid a sweep here at home against Texas. A 10th straight loss here at home against Texas and a 4th straight loss overall.
You know, again, Oklahoma didn't play great today. Those errors were huge. However, I come out of, at this point, you come out of this weekend thinking, it's more than I'm impressed with Texas. It's again, for Oklahoma, with that coaching staff, 3 guys. Jamie Pinzino's been a Division I head coach. Mike Anderson, Pete Hughes. They're the young talent they have. OU's going in a good direction.
Hinojosa well hit left field. Haley slides over nearly a little too far. Reaches down and makes the catch. But Texas gets 2 more. 6 outs to go for Oklahoma. They're down 6 runs. Dory Noka, Mike Rooney with you in Norman, Oklahoma. 7-1 Texas, all Longhorns. And they came out hitting again after a 2-hour and 1-minute weather delay. And through the delay, Nathan Thornhill, who started the game, stayed warm, got the heat pack, stayed loose, and he stayed in this game. And here he is again, still continuing to cruise, runs.
And you look at the scout report, Dory, there's nothing on that scout report that says, wow, this is a scary guy. And the fastball maybe is probably even a little lighter right now with the break. But it knows how to pitch. Fastballs down in the zone, can pitch backwards, you know, throw off speed and fastball counts when he needed to in big spots, and just very efficient, which is why he's still in the game at this point.
They say, you know, he pitches to contact, not a big strikeout guy. Came in with 26 strikeouts and 20 walks even in 49 innings of work, which you'd say is probably a little bit too much. But pitches to contact, let that second best defense in the Big 12 behind you do the work, and he has and it has.
Well, to your point, you would have expected more walks today looking at the stats, but that was from when he was a closer, and really just one walk today. So in this role, he's just really good with this defense behind him.
Taylor Allspaw, who pinch hit in the 5th. Keach Ballard makes his second appearance at the plate. Former Union Redskin. I don't get to say that often.
That's right.
Great athletic program up there in Southeast Tulsa, and he's part of it.
They're slightly serious about their high school football in that region, right?
Yes, indeed. 2-1 count here to Allspaw. Swung on. Little pop-up third baseman Gerwitz into foul territory and makes the play, 1 down. Yes, they're a little bit serious up there. Union and Jinx. Broken Arrow and Owasso, the Big 4.
Really impressive. 76 pitches into the 8th inning. That's getting it done. And again, in this era with these bats, I don't know why you wouldn't just pound the strike zone. I mean, just take your chances in the zone.
Hector Lorenzana. First pitch swinging, roped into left. That'd be a trap by Ben Johnson. Lorenzana aboard with his second base hit of the day. But a good effort by Johnson.
And that's where this wind is so crazy. I mean, Ben Johnson is an incredible athlete. He's a kid who could have played Division I football, and he did all kinds of circles on that ball that had some top spin and some wind, and that's not fun.
So to the top of the order, Oklahoma goes. Craig Aiken singled, grounded out, and walked so far on the day. Game started 4 hours and 20 minutes ago. If it weren't for the 2-hour delay, we'd say it's actually moved pretty well.
It's a slightly large if, but I like it.
Well, I tell you, we watched some golf. We saw some rain. We saw some hail. Got to spend some time with old friend Joe Castiglione, the athletic director here at Oklahoma. We saw Toby Keith. We saw Roger Clemens. I mean, it was an eventful 2 hours for us.
Yes, it was.
We might have eaten some of the food in their suite when they were gone. It's a high fly ball. Center field. Mark Payton steps in, makes the out. That'd be 2 down. I say might. Kept seeing you go back for those meatballs.
That may or may not have happened.
Yeah, that pretty much happened.
You know.
I think we thought they were done, but Toby's back in there. I hope we didn't save him something.
So now we've upset Roger Clemens and Toby Keith in the same day. Well done by us. Thank you. Hashtag stay hot.
There's Toby. Still hanging around watching his beloved Sooners.
That's just everything's a strike. Changeup's a strike, curveball's a strike, fastball in and out, up and down.
Hunter Haley.
We were talking about it a second ago, Dar. You start thinking about OU baseball, where they're going. I mean, where they've been. They've been to a super regional 3 of the last 4 years. Omaha in 2010. But with this coaching staff and this young stable of hitters, the future's really bright around here.
2-1 now to Hunter Haley, a 2-time national champs. Larry Koshel and then Sonny Galloway had a very nice run here, an OU guy himself. He's off to Auburn this year, and so in comes Pete Hughes. Slow ground ball, charging is Gerwitz over to Clemens. They call Casey Clemens a vacuum at first, and that is a look at why. So Haley grounds out. That's it for the 8th. 7-1. Texas feeling right at home in Oklahoma. Tomorrow, the 2014 WNBA Draft presented by State Farm, live from Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. Find out who gets chosen first. Don't miss the exclusive coverage tomorrow starting at 8 Eastern on ESPN2 and then at 9 Eastern on ESPNU. 6'7", 235 pounds. On the mound here for Oklahoma, you can see him, Alec Hansen, a freshman from Loveland, Colorado. So Hansen replacing Ralph Gardner Jr., who went about an inning, a little less, for the Sooners. 6th appearance for Hansen. ERA could stand to come down a little bit. Again, it's so little, so much little amount of work.
Yep.
Sometimes those numbers certainly do get skewed.
Tell you what the numbers and that pitch tell you, though, is it's going to be premium stuff. A lot of punch outs, and when he's in the zone, he's very effective. When he's not, there's going to be walks.
Jacob Felt, second at bat of the day, and that is slapped into center field. So first hitter Hansen faces comes up with a single.
I'll tell you one thing Hansen's going to prevent is the bench clear, because you're not charging the mound there. I mean, that is
a good point.
That is not going to work out well. Good golly.
6'7", 235. Here's Casey Clemens.
That fastball is crisp. I mean, that's 91 and 93 right out of the chute.
If it weren't for that net, that thing might have hit us. Again, that's a big if.
Long live the net.
Yep. One and one now to Casey Clemens.
To your point, though, Dari, and again, this is among the you know, hypothetical ifs here.
Sure.
We
got time for
when
those.
we haven't had delay, the weather's been beautiful, just like the pace of the game, right?
You and I should write a book of philosophy.
That's right. When it's not raining, it's nice out. It's kind of profound and genius at the same time.
The game's been flying if it weren't for that 2-hour delay.
That's right. Yeah. There wasn't golf ball size hail on the field.
That's right.
It's actually been very nice.
The way off speed, way up.
And that's the issue. That's why, you know, Hansen's probably not getting that many innings right now. As a hitter, if you're in the Texas dugout, you can immediately eliminate breaking ball, and now you're just going to sit on fastball, and if it's 92, you can really do damage.
Clemens, ground ball through the hole into left field for a single for Casey Clemens, and that's his second hit of the day. So now 2 on, nobody out here in the top of the 9th for Gurwitz, who it feels like has been up 13 times today. And
yep.
And
been in the middle of everything.
He
Ton
really
of plays at third. This is a really good baseball player.
Couple of doubles, numbers 6 and 7 on the season. He's scored a couple of runs. He's had a heck of an afternoon here. The 5'8" freshman from San Antonio, giving up 11 inches to the man on the mound right now.
And if you're in the Big 12, this is the kind of player Augie's had for 20 years. Just a, you know, undersized guy that can really play baseball. He's not really a draft risk junior year, so you're going to have to deal with the Zane Gurwitz for 4 years. You're not happy about that. It's really like a right-handed Brooks Marlo in a lot of ways. And that's a guy that you could get back for senior year.
The Texas leadoff man. There's a strike. 2-1 now from Hansen. I'm going to go by his size here that he is not related to the Hansons, gained fame out of Tulsa up the road there. Remember the Boppers.
Not familiar with their work.
Yeah? Come on now. All right, I'm going to stop.
Oh, the Hansons, the music. Okay,
thank you.
gotcha.
Yes. All right. I thought you were a fan.
I got to widen my horizons.
Hermelin out to chat with Hansen.
Yeah, crossed him up. Through breaking ball. Here's Jamie Pinzino. Again, did an unbelievable job at Bryant. Then takes over William & Mary, takes them to a regional. They beat Ole Miss and end up in the regional finals against NC State, I believe, last year.
Beat Ole Miss twice, I think, in Oxford.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. You got that guy. There's your pitching coach, former Division I coach. Then you've got Mike Anderson, who has taken a team himself to Omaha.
Yep.
Part of those great Nebraska teams in the late 90s and early 2000s that you covered.
Yep, absolutely. First 2 College World Series for Nebraska. He was part of as an assistant for Dave Van Horn and then took them himself in 2005. And that's a walk now. So the bases are loaded and nobody out.